My brother stole $15,500 from my daughter and laughed when she begged. I looked him dead in the eye. Pray to God, because I won't show mercy. He smirked. They'll believe me over a brat. A week later, homeless, jail time, disowned. And me? I'm watching him burn. I am staring at a spreadsheet on my laptop screen, my eyes burning from the blue light. It is 1 in the morning on a rainy Tuesday in the San Fernando Valley. The sound of cars splashing through puddles outside usually helps me sleep, but tonight, I am too wired. I type in the number, $350. That is the extra cash I made from working overtime at the bank last week. I hit enter, and the total at the bottom of the column updates. $15,500. I lean back in my chair and let out a breath I feel like I have been holding for 5 years. $15,500. To some people in this city, that is just a down payment on a luxury car or a few months of rent in a high-rise. But for me, for us, that number is freedom. My bedroom door creaks open. I turn around to see my daughter, Tessa, standing there in her oversized pajamas. She is 12, going on 20, with messy hair and glasses that slide down her nose. Mom, you are doing the math again, aren't you? She whispers, rubbing her eyes. I smile, waving her over. Come look. We hit the target. Tessa shuffles over and peers at the screen. Her eyes go wide behind her lenses. We actually did it? We did it, I confirm. She doesn't cheer. She is too mature for that. Instead, she just leans her head against my shoulder. I can feel the tension leaving her small body. We have been saving for this moment since the day my ex-husband walked out, leaving us with nothing but a maxed-out credit card and a leased apartment I couldn't afford. That money isn't just sitting in a bank account. It is physical. It is real. We keep it in an old, dented metal lockbox hidden in the back of her closet, buried under winter coats we rarely use in Los Angeles. It sounds paranoid, I know. I work at a bank. I know how interest rates work. But after the divorce, after having my accounts frozen and drained by a man I thought I loved, I developed a sort of sickness. A need to see the cash. To hold it. Tessa calls it my dragon hoard. I call it our survival kit. But this specific $15,500 wasn't for rent. It wasn't for emergencies. It was for her. Tessa is an artist. Not just a kid who doodles, but a serious digital artist. She has been taking commissions online since she was 10, drawing characters for people, designing logos, scraping together $5 here, $10 there. She puts 80% of everything she earns into that box. I match whatever I can spare. Her dream is a high-end workstation. A top-of-the-line computer with a drawing tablet screen that costs more than my first car. She wants to learn 3D modeling. She wants a future that doesn't involve counting pennies like her mother. You can order the parts tomorrow, I tell her, kissing the top of her head. Tomorrow? She asks, her voice cracking a little. Tomorrow, I promise. She hugs me tight, and for the first time in a long time, I don't feel the crushing weight of anxiety on my chest. We are safe. We built this. Just 2 girls against the world. Go to bed, Tess. You have school. She scurries off, and I close the laptop. I should have gone to sleep right then. I should have savored that feeling of victory. But I didn't know that my phone was about to buzz, and the name flashing on the screen would be the beginning of the end of my peace. It was a text from my mother, Joyce. Don't forget Sunday dinner. Brandon is bringing a surprise. I felt my stomach knot up. Brandon, my younger brother. The golden boy. The Prince of Pasadena. If Tessa and I were the ones building a fortress brick by brick, Brandon was the one who would show up with a sledgehammer, claiming he was just trying to renovate. I put the phone face down. Sunday was 5 days away. I told myself I wouldn't let him ruin this week. I was wrong. Sunday arrived with the kind of blistering heat that makes the Los Angeles smog feel like a heavy blanket. We drove out to Pasadena, to the house I grew up in. It is a nice house, a relic of a time when a single income could buy a 3-bedroom home with a yard. My father, Frank, was at the grill, flipping burgers that were already burnt. My mother, Joyce, was fluttering around the patio table, setting down potato salad and coleslaw. You are late. Mallory, my dad grunted as I walked in, holding a tray of brownies I had baked. We are 5 minutes early. Dad, I said, checking my watch. Well, Brandon is already here, so you are late, he countered. Logic was never Frank's strong suit when it came to his son. I looked around. There was a shiny, white BMW convertible parked in the driveway. It still had the dealer plates. My stomach turned. Brandon was 29 years old. He worked as a salesman at a used car dealership in the valley. There was no way he could afford a brand new BMW unless he had won the lottery or done something stupid. Knowing Brandon, it was the latter. He was sitting in the best lawn chair, wearing sunglasses that probably cost $300, holding a beer. "Hey, Mal," he shouted, not bothering to get up. "Look at the wheels. Sweet, right?" I put the brownies down and walked over. "Leased?" I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. He scoffed. "Corporate perk. They treat their top guys right." I knew for a fact Brandon had only been at this dealership for 4 months. He had been fired from his last 3 jobs for attendance issues or quote-unquote personality conflicts. Tessa went to sit by the corner, pulling out her sketchbook. She knew the drill. Keep your head down, don't attract attention. "So, Mallory," Mom said, piling a mountain of potato salad onto Brandon's plate. "How is the bank? Still just managing?" I took a deep breath. "Actually, I have some good news. I was promoted to senior branch manager on Friday. It comes with a raise." "That is nice, dear," Mom said, her eyes already drifting back to Brandon. "Brandon, tell your sister about your investment idea." I gripped my fork. My promotion meant financial security. It meant I could finally start a college fund for Tessa. But in this house, my achievements were just background noise to Brandon's fantasies. "Yeah, so," Brandon leaned forward, the beer sloshing a little. "I have got this buddy, right? He is into crypto mining, but not the usual stuff. High-yield, cloud-based infrastructure. I am thinking of putting 10 grand in. It is a guaranteed triple return in a month." I almost choked on my burger. $10,000? Brandon, you don't have $10,000. And even if you did, that sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Dad slammed his spatula down. "Why are you always so negative, Mallory? Your brother has vision. You are just happy being a corporate drone. It is not negative to be realistic, Dad. It is a scam. You are just jealous," Brandon sneered, lowering his sunglasses. "Because I am going to be rich, and you are going to be stuck counting other people's money until you die. By the way, Mom, I might need a little bridge loan to secure my spot. Just until the first payout." I watched as Mom's face softened into that look, the one that meant her wallet was already open. I didn't know that Brandon had seen something in my eyes that day. He saw confidence, and Brandon hated it when anyone else felt confident. It was Friday, the day we were supposed to order the computer parts. I was at the bank, dealing with a customer who had locked herself out of her safe deposit box. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. I excused myself and checked the screen. "Brandon." I declined the call. He called back immediately. I sighed and answered, whispering furiously, "I am at work, Brandon. What do you want?" "Mal, you have to help me." He sounded breathless, frantic. "What is it? Did you crash the BMW?" "No. Listen, I am in the neighborhood. I mean, near your place. I was supposed to meet a client, but I spilled coffee all over my shirt. I have a spare suit in my gym bag, but I think I left the bag at your house last month when I crashed on your couch. Remember?" I frowned. I didn't remember a gym bag, but Brandon left his junk everywhere. "I am not home, Brandon. Tessa is at school." "I know. That is why I am calling. Can you just unlock the door remotely? I just need to run in, grab the bag, use the bathroom, and leave. I swear, 5 minutes. If I miss this meeting, I am fired. Mal, please." I am finally turning things around. I hesitated. My gut was screaming no. My instincts, sharpened by years of handling fraud cases at the bank, were flashing red lights. "I don't know, Brandon." Just then, another text popped up. It was Mom. "Brandon says he is in trouble, and you won't help him? He is trying so hard to keep this job. Don't be spiteful, Mallory. Be a sister." The guilt. It was a weapon my mother wielded with surgical precision. If I said no, I was the villain. I was the reason he failed. "Fine." I hissed into the phone. "I am unlocking the smart lock now. You have 10 minutes. If the camera sees you staying longer, I am calling the cops." "You are a lifesaver, Mal. Love you." He hung up. I opened my security app. I tapped unlock. I watched the little icon turn green. Front door unlocked. I stared at the screen, waiting for the camera feed to load. But the connection was spinning. Bad signal inside the bank vault area. I cursed and shoved the phone back in my pocket. I had a line of customers waiting. 20 minutes later, I got the notification. Front door locked. He was out. I let out a breath. It was fine. He just needed a shirt. He was my brother. He was annoying and selfish and a leech, but he wouldn't cross that line. He wouldn't steal from me. Not directly. Not from my house. I finished my shift, feeling a strange sense of unease that I couldn't shake. I drove to pick up Tessa from her art club. She was beaming. Did we order it? Did you buy the parts? She asked the second she hopped in the car. We are doing it tonight, I promised. We will order pizza, open the laptop, and buy everything. The drive home was excruciatingly slow. Traffic on the 405 was a parking lot. By the time we pulled into our driveway, the sun was setting, casting long, orange shadows across the lawn. I unlocked the door. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Wait, Tessa said, sniffing the air. It smells like cologne? My heart stopped. It was Brandon's cheap, overpowering body spray. I dropped my keys and ran. Not to the living room. Not to the kitchen. I ran straight down the hall to Tessa's bedroom. The door to Tessa's room was open. At first glance, everything looked normal. The bed was made. Her posters were on the wall. But the closet door was slightly ajar. I froze in the doorway. Tessa pushed past me, her school bag thumping against the floor. Mom, she whispered. She scrambled into the closet, pushing aside the winter coats. I heard the sound of metal scraping against wood. She pulled out the gray lockbox. It looked fine. The lock wasn't broken. Maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Tessa fumbled with the key on her necklace. Her hands were shaking. She inserted the key and turned it. The latch clicked. She lifted the lid. The sound that came out of my daughter wasn't a scream. It was a gasp, a hollow, broken sound like all the air had been punched out of her lungs. I fell to my knees beside her. Empty. The stacks of $20 bills we had banded together? Gone. The envelopes with cash from her commissions? Gone. The rolls of quarters? Gone. $15,500. Vaporized. Lying at the bottom of the empty metal box was a single white paper napkin. I recognized the logo. It was from a fast food burger joint down the street. There was writing on it in blue ink. Borrowed for a sure thing. Pay you back double next week. Chill out. I stared at the note. I read it once. Twice. 3 times. The words didn't make sense. Borrowed. He called it borrowed. No. Tessa wailed, grabbing the box and turning it upside down, shaking it as if the money might magically fall out of the seams. It is gone. Mom, he took it. He took everything. I felt a coldness spread through my veins. It started in my chest and moved to my fingertips. It was the absolute zero of rage. I stood up, my legs trembling not from fear, but from adrenaline. I pulled out my phone and opened the security app again. The Wi-Fi was working now. I scrolled back to the timeline. 10:15 a.m. The video played. Brandon walked in. He wasn't holding a gym bag. He wasn't wearing a coffee-stained shirt. He looked perfectly fine. He walked straight to the kitchen, grabbed a knife from the block, and walked down the hall to Tessa's room. 2 minutes later, he walked back out. He was stuffing handfuls of cash into his jacket pockets. He looked at the camera. He knew exactly where it was, and he winked. He actually winked. Then he grabbed a napkin from the counter, scribbled something, and walked back to the bedroom. When he left the house, he was whistling. I stopped the video. I felt like I was going to throw up. He didn't just steal. He violated our home. He used the trust one had, the trust my mother forced me to have, and he weaponized it. Get in the car, Tessa, I said. My voice sounded strange, robotic. Where are we going? She sobbed, clutching the empty box to her chest. We are going to get your money back. I dragged her to the car. I didn't care about the speed limit. I didn't care about the red light I ran on Sepulveda Boulevard. My mind was a singular tunnel of focus. West Hollywood. Brandon's apartment. I called him on the way. Straight to voicemail. I called Mom. Straight to voicemail. They knew. They all knew. Tessa was curled up in the passenger seat, crying softly. I am sorry, I whispered. I am so sorry, baby. I shouldn't have let him in. It is not your fault, Mom, she choked out. But she was wrong. It was my fault. I let the wolf in because the sheep told me he was family. We arrived at Brandon's apartment complex 40 minutes later. It was a trendy building with a rooftop pool and a security gate that was conveniently broken. I parked my Honda between a Range Rover and a Tesla. I could hear the bass thumping from the 3rd floor before we even got out of the car. It was 5 o'clock on a Friday, and the party had already started. I marched up the stairs, Tessa trailing behind me, wiping her eyes. I didn't knock. I pounded on door 304. Open the door, Brandon. I screamed. The music lowered slightly. I heard shuffling, laughter. Then the door swung open. Brandon stood there, holding a red Solo cup. He was wearing a new leather jacket. I recognized the smell of expensive vodka wafting out of the apartment. Behind him, 3 or 4 guys were lounging on his sectional sofa, playing video games. "Whoa, Mal," he slurred, blinking at me. "Party doesn't start till 8. You are early. And you brought the kid?" I shoved past him into the apartment. "Where is it?" I demanded. "Where's what?" "You are being rude, Mallory." "The money, Brandon. The $15,000 you stole from your 12-year-old niece." The room went quiet. The guys on the sofa paused their game. Brandon's smile didn't falter. He took a sip of his drink. "Stole is a very ugly word, sis. I left a note. It is a loan. I told you. I have this investment thing." "Investment?" I screamed, grabbing a bottle of Grey Goose from the counter and slamming it down. It shattered, vodka spraying everywhere. "You are throwing a party with my daughter's college fund. Give it back. Now, or I call the cops." Brandon looked at the broken glass, then at me. His eyes went cold. "You are hysterical. This is why you are single." Tessa stepped forward. She looked so small in that room full of grown men. She reached out and grabbed Brandon's sleeve. "Uncle Brandon, please," she begged, her voice trembling. "That money. I saved it for 4 years. It is for my computer. Please, just give it back. I won't be mad. Just please." I watched, holding my breath, hoping that somewhere inside him, there was a shred of humanity. Brandon looked down at Tessa. He looked at her tear-stained face, her shaking hands. Then, he threw his head back and laughed. It wasn't a nervous laugh. It was a deep, belly laugh. He pulled out his phone and pointed the camera at her. "Look at this," he shouted to his friends. "Look at the performance. You should be an actress, kid, not a digital artist." Oscar-worthy tears. He turned the phone to me. "My sister is teaching her to be a drama queen to extort me. Can you believe this?" He laughed again, right in Tessa's face. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't a snap of violence. It was the snap of a tether breaking. The tether that bound me to him as a sister. I didn't scream. I didn't attack him. I pulled Tessa back, wrapping my arm around her. "You think this is funny?" I asked, my voice deadly quiet. "Yeah, I do," Brandon smirked. "Go home, Mallory. You are ruining the vibe. My investors will be here soon." I looked him dead in the eye. "Enjoy your last few days of peace, Brandon." He sneered. "Mom and Dad will be on my side. They always are. They know you are crazy." He slammed the door in our faces. I stood there in the hallway, staring at the wood grain of the door. I could hear them laughing inside. I could hear Brandon mocking Tessa's voice. "Please, Uncle Brandon, please." I looked down at my daughter. She wasn't crying anymore. She was staring at the door, her face pale, her eyes wide with shock. "Come on," I said softly. We walked back to the car. I didn't feel rage anymore. I felt clarity. Cold, hard clarity. He was right. Mom and Dad would be on his side. He had the family protection. But he didn't have me. Not anymore. The drive home was a nightmare of a different kind. The physical distance between West Hollywood and the valley gave my phone enough time to light up like a Christmas tree. Brandon had moved fast. He had called the parents. My phone rang. "Dad." I let it go to voicemail. My phone rang again. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail. Then a text from Mom. "Answer the phone, Mallory. Now." I put the phone on speaker so I wouldn't have to hold it, but I didn't answer. I just listened to the voicemails play automatically through the car's Bluetooth as we sat in bumper-to-bumper traffic. First voicemail. "Dad. Mallory, what the hell is wrong with you? Brandon called us. He said you barged into his apartment and started smashing bottles. Are you drunk? He borrowed that money for a business opportunity that is going to benefit this whole family. You go back there and apologize right now." Second voicemail. "Mom. Mal. Honey, please calm down." Brandon explained everything. He left a note. That makes it a promissory note. It is legal. You can't call the police on family over a misunderstanding. He said he would pay you back double next week. Why do you always have to be so dramatic? You are scaring him. Tessa sat silently, listening to her grandparents defend the man who had just laughed in her face. "They believe him," she whispered. "Of course they do," I said, gripping the steering wheel. "They always have." I looked at Tessa. She was scrolling through her phone. Suddenly, she gasped. "Mom, look." She held up her screen. It was a screenshot of a text message conversation. Brandon had posted it on his Facebook story. It showed a text from Tessa to Brandon, dated yesterday. The text read, "Hey Uncle B. Yeah, you can borrow the cash box. I don't need it urgently. Just pay me back when you get rich. Love you." That is fake. Tessa cried. I never sent that. I know, baby. I grabbed her phone and looked closely. The number at the top wasn't Tessa's number. It was a spoofed number. He had texted himself from an app, saved the contact as Tessa, and created a fake evidence trail. He is trying to cover his tracks, I said, my mind racing. He knows I might go to the cops. He is building a defense. He is evil, Tessa said, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and hatred I had never heard from her before. Yes, I agreed. He is. We finally pulled into our driveway. The house felt violated. I walked into the kitchen and saw the empty space on the counter where the knife block usually sat. He had put the knife back, but I knew. My phone rang again. It was Mom. I picked it up this time. Hello? I said, my voice flat. Mallory. Thank God. Listen, your father is very upset. We are going to come over tomorrow, and we are going to have a family meeting to sort this out. Brandon will be there too. We need to mediate this. Mediate? I laughed, a dry, humorless sound. He stole $15,000, Mom. He created fake text messages. He laughed at Tessa while she cried. He is under a lot of stress. Mom yelled. And he said that text was real. Are you calling your brother a liar? Yes. I screamed back. I am calling him a liar and a thief. Mallory, if you call the police, if you ruin his reputation, you are destroying this family. Do you hear me? We will not forgive you. Then don't, I said. And I hung up. I looked at Tessa. She was sitting at the kitchen table, her head in her hands. Mom, she asked, what are we going to do? I walked over to the fridge and pulled out a bottle of water. I needed to hydrate. I had a war to fight. We are going to do what they think we won't do, I said. We are going to stop playing by their rules. I opened my laptop and typed in a name. Sasha Williams. Who is that? Tessa asked. She is my roommate from college, I said. She is the meanest, scariest criminal defense lawyer in downtown LA. And she hates Brandon almost as much as I do. We hope you are enjoying the story so far. If you have ever had a family member betray your trust, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what city you are watching from. Your comments help this video reach more people who need to hear this. Thank you so much. Saturday morning arrived with a gray, overcast sky that matched the pit in my stomach. I told Tessa to stay in her room and work on her art, or try to. I didn't want her to see me fail, and I had a sinking feeling that is exactly what was about to happen. I drove to the local police station, clutching a folder containing printouts of the security footage, the empty box, and screenshots of Brandon's fake text message. I sat on a hard plastic chair for 45 minutes before an officer finally called my name. Officer Miller looked like he had seen it all and cared about none of it. He listened as I explained the situation, his pen tapping rhythmically against his desk. So, let me get this straight, he interrupted, looking at his notes. He has a key to your house. I gave him a temporary code. Yes, I admitted. And he left a note? A napkin saying he borrowed it? Yes, but, and he is your brother? Yes, but he stole $15,500. I slammed my hand on the desk. He took my daughter's life savings. Officer Miller sighed and leaned back. Ma'am, look, I believe you that he took it. But in the eyes of the law, this is messy. You gave him access. He left a promissory note, however informal. He claims it is a loan. This isn't a burglary. It is a civil dispute. Civil? I choked out. He broke into a locked box. Did he break the lock on the house? No. Did he threaten you with a weapon? No. It is he said, she said. If we arrest him, the DA probably won't press charges. It is a family matter. You need to take him to small claims court. Small claims has a limit of $10,000. I argued, and he will just ignore the judgment. He has no assets in his name. The officer shrugged. I can file a report for documentation, but I can't send a squad car to arrest him for borrowing money from his sister. I am sorry. I walked out of the station feeling like I had been punched in the gut. The system was broken. It was designed to protect people like Brandon, manipulators who walk the fine line between legal and illegal. I sat in my car in the parking lot and screamed. I screamed until my throat was raw. Then I wiped my face, put the car in drive, and headed to the one person who didn't care about polite society rules. I met Sasha at a Greasy Spoon diner in downtown LA. She was already there, looking out of place in her sharp navy suit among the truckers and tourists. Sasha had been my roommate at UCLA. While I went into banking, she went into criminal defense. She was the kind of lawyer who ate prosecutors for breakfast. I slid into the booth and threw the folder on the table. The cop said it is a civil matter. Sasha took a sip of her black coffee and opened the folder. She flipped through the photos of the empty box and the text messages. Of course they did. Cops are lazy. They see family and note, and they check out. She pulled out a cigarette, then remembered she couldn't smoke inside and tapped it against the table. Listen, Mal. The napkin is his shield. It proves, in his twisted logic, that he lacked intent to permanently deprive. That is the legal definition of theft. He claims he intended to pay it back. So I can't do anything? Sasha smiled, and it was a shark smile. No, we just have to prove that he had absolutely no ability or intent to pay it back. We have to prove the loan was a lie from the start. Where did the money go? I shrugged. He said something about crypto. Or an investment. Bullshit, Sasha said. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. I have a private investigator on retainer. Let's see what Brandon has really been up to. For the next hour, we ate fries while Sasha worked her magic. She made calls, barked orders, and typed furiously. 40 minutes later, her phone dinged with an email. She opened it, read it, and let out a low whistle. Well, your brother is a busy boy, she said, turning the phone to me. I looked at the report. It was a credit check and a background scrub. Brandon had 3 maxed-out credit cards. He had an eviction notice from his last apartment. But the kicker was the activity at the car dealership where he worked. He is underwater, Sasha explained. He owes a bookie in Vegas about 12 grand. And look at this, there are rumors on the dealership forums. Customers complaining about deposit discrepancies. He is stealing from his job? I asked. He is floating titles, Sasha guessed. Taking cash deposits, using them to gamble, and hoping to win it back before the paperwork clears. It is a classic Ponzi scheme. So how does this help us? It establishes a pattern, Sasha said. But we need a smoking gun. We need him to admit, in writing or on tape, that the money he took from Tessa wasn't for an investment. We need him to admit it is gone and he never planned to return it. How do we do that? He is ignoring me. Sasha leaned forward, her eyes gleaming. You stop being the angry sister. You become the desperate, defeated sister. You offer him a way out. And when he takes the bait, we snap the trap. Before I could execute Sasha's plan, Brandon made his move. It was Wednesday. I was at the bank, reviewing loan applications. The branch was busy, the hum of commerce usually soothing to me. My regional manager, a stern woman named Mrs. Higgins, walked out of her office. Mallory, can I see you for a moment? Her tone was icy. I followed her into the office. She closed the blinds. We received an anonymous tip on the ethics hotline this morning, she said, sliding a piece of paper across the desk. I picked it up. It was a transcript of a call. The caller claimed to be a concerned family member. They alleged that I had a severe gambling addiction, that I was stealing cash from the vault to cover my debts, and that I was emotionally unstable. My hands shook. This is a lie. Mrs. Higgins, you know me. My drawers balance to the penny every single night. We are auditing your station now, she said. But the caller also mentioned drug use. They said you have been erratic. I stood up. This is my brother, I said, my voice trembling with rage. He stole $15,000 from my daughter last week. I threatened to go to the police. This is his retaliation. He is trying to destroy my credibility, so if I testify against him, he can say I am an addict. Mrs. Higgins looked at me over her glasses. She had known me for 7 years. She knew I didn't even drink coffee after noon. We will do the audit, Mallory. It is protocol. If you are clean, this goes away. But if this is the kind of drama that follows you, you need to handle it. The bank cannot have a manager involved in police matters. I walked out of that office with my career hanging by a thread. I wasn't scared anymore. I was done being the victim. Brandon had crossed the final line. He didn't just steal my money. He tried to take my livelihood. He tried to take the food out of Tessa's mouth. I went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked tired. I looked defeated. Good, I whispered to my reflection. That is exactly what he needs to see. I pulled out my phone. I unblocked Brandon's number. My hands were steady now. I wasn't typing as Mallory the bank manager. I was typing as the prey walking into the lion's den. I sat in my car in the bank parking lot, holding the phone. Sasha had scripted the text for me. It had to be perfect. It had to stroke his ego and lower his defenses. I typed, "Brandon, please. Mom is right. I overreacted. I am sorry about the scene at your apartment. The bank is auditing me because of some rumors, and I am terrified I will lose my job. I just need to know. Can you pay back even $5,000? Just so I can pay rent? I won't ask for the rest right now. Please, I am begging you." I hit send. Then I waited. The longest 10 minutes of my life. My phone buzzed. "Took you long enough to calm down," Brandon replied. I typed back, "I know." I was stressed. "Just tell me the investment is safe. I need to tell Tessa something." He was typing, then stopped, then typing again. "Relax, Mal. The investment is fine. I put it all on a parlay for the Lakers game and some props. It is a lock. I will have double the money by Monday. Stop crying poverty. You make enough." I stared at the screen. My heart hammered against my ribs. He admitted it. He admitted he didn't put it in a business. He put it on a parlay. Sports betting. That was illegal misappropriation. It proved the loan for business was a lie. It proved he gambled my daughter's money away. I took a screenshot. Then I backed it up to the cloud. Then I sent it to Sasha. Sasha texted back one word, "Gotcha." But we weren't done. Sasha had been busy. Her private investigator had found the final nail in the coffin. Brandon wasn't just gambling. He was stealing from the dealership to pay the bookie, then stealing from me to pay the dealership. It was a house of cards, and the wind was picking up. I went back into the bank. I finished my shift. My drawer balanced perfectly. Mrs. Higgins apologized to me at the end of the day, but I barely heard her. I was thinking about tomorrow. Friday, the day Brandon's world would burn. Friday morning, Sasha met me outside the police station. But this time, we weren't seeing Officer Miller at the front desk. Sasha had called in a favor. We were meeting Detective Ramirez in the fraud division. Ramirez was a sharp woman with tired eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. She looked at the dossier Sasha placed on her desk. It wasn't just the theft of the $15,000 anymore. It was the text admission of gambling. It was the witness statements Sasha's PI had gathered from two of Brandon's former customers who claimed he had asked for cash deposits off the books for a discount. "This guy is a one-man crime wave," Ramirez muttered, reading the text message where Brandon admitted to betting the money. "He filed a false report against my client at her workplace to intimidate a witness," Sasha added. "That is obstruction." Ramirez looked up. "He tried to get you fired?" "Yes," I said. "He wanted to cut off my resources so I couldn't fight him." Ramirez stood up and grabbed her jacket. "That pisses me off. Grand larceny, fraud, intimidation. And since the victim is a minor, yeah, we have enough. Can we come?" I asked. Ramirez smirked. "You can happen to be in the area, but stay in your car." We drove to the dealership in Sasha's car. It was a sleazy lot on Van Nuys Boulevard, the kind with giant inflatable gorillas and flags flapping in the smoggy wind. We parked across the street. I watched as two unmarked police cars pulled into the lot. My heart was racing. "Is this too much?" I asked Sasha. "Is this too cruel?" Sasha looked at me. He laughed at Tessa, Mallory. He laughed while she begged. "He tried to get you fired. He would have drained you dry and left you on the street without losing a wink of sleep. This isn't cruelty. This is consequences." I looked at the dealership window. I could see Brandon. He was standing by a red convertible, talking to a young couple. He was smiling that charming, fake smile. The smile that had fooled my parents for 30 years. Then, the detectives walked in. From across the street, it looked like a scene from a silent movie. I saw Detective Ramirez flash her badge. Brandon's smile dropped. He took a step back, bumping into the red convertible. He started waving his hands, pointing at the door, clearly trying to talk his way out of it. Then, I saw his boss storm out of the glass office. A large man in a cheap suit. He was yelling. I could tell he was yelling because his face turned purple. Ramirez didn't waste time. She pulled out the cuffs. Brandon tried to pull away. Bad move. The other detective grabbed him and spun him around, slamming him against the hood of the car he was trying to sell. The young couple who had been talking to him looked terrified. They backed away, clutching their paperwork. I watched as they marched him out. His hands were cuffed behind his back. His suit jacket was torn at the shoulder. He looked small. He looked pathetic. As they guided him toward the squad car, he looked up. He scanned the street. And he saw us. I rolled down the window. I wanted him to see me. I wanted him to know it was me. Our eyes locked. There was no smirk this time. No laughter. Just pure, unadulterated fear. He shouted something, but the glass of the police car cut him off as they shoved him into the back seat. Sasha started the engine. "Show is over," she said. "Let's go get lunch." I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel joy, but I felt a heavy weight lift off my chest. The monster wasn't under the bed anymore. He was in a cage. My phone started ringing before we even left the curb. It was Dad. I didn't answer. I texted him one photo. The photo I had just taken of Brandon being shoved into a police car. And then I turned my phone off. The silence lasted for exactly 3 hours. Then, the storm arrived. I was home, helping Tessa set up a temporary workspace on my old laptop. We heard the screech of tires in the driveway. It was my parents. They didn't knock. They pounded on the door. "Mallory, open this door. You ungrateful witch. Open this door." Tessa shrank back. "Go to your room. Honey," I said calmly. "Put on your noise-canceling headphones." I walked to the door, but didn't open it. I spoke through the Ring camera speaker. "Go away, Dad." The door shook as he kicked it. "You had your brother arrested. At his job. Do you know how humiliating that is? You ruined his life. He ruined his own life when he stole from a child," I said, my voice steady. Mom's voice came through, shrill and hysterical. "He is family. You don't do this to family. We could have fixed this. We could have paid you back slowly." "No, you wouldn't have," I said. "You would have made excuses. You would have told me to let it go. You have enabled him for 30 years, and this is the result. Mallory, if you don't drop these charges, we are done," Dad threatened. "We will write you out of the will. We will sue for grandparents' rights to see Tessa." I laughed. It was a cold, dark sound. "You have no rights," I said. "And as for the will, keep your money. You are going to need it for his bail lawyer. But here is the reality check. I am the only one of your children who actually has a job and a future. When you are old and sick, Brandon won't be there to take care of you. He will be stealing your pain meds. And now, I won't be there either." I pressed a button on my phone. The automatic sprinklers on the front lawn hissed to life. My parents shrieked as the cold water hit them. It was petty, maybe, but watching them run back to their car, soaking wet, defeated, it was the first time I had stood up to them in my entire life. They drove away, and the house was quiet again. The legal process was slow, but effective. With the evidence Sasha and I provided, the district attorney didn't hesitate. Brandon was charged with grand larceny and fraud. Because of his prior record and the concurrent fraud at the dealership, he wasn't offered probation. He took a plea deal. 18 months in state prison, followed by 3 years of probation and full restitution. My parents sold their rental property in Arizona to pay for his defense attorney. They drained their retirement savings to try to keep him out of jail, but the judge was tired of men like Brandon. I didn't go to the sentencing. I didn't need to see him again. Life in our little house in the valley changed. The anxiety I had lived with for years began to fade. I picked up extra shifts at the bank. I sold some old furniture. It took me 3 months, but I did it. One evening, I walked into Tessa's room with 3 large boxes. "What is this?" she asked, looking up from her sketchbook. "Open it." She tore open the biggest box. It was the monitor, a 4K, color-calibrated display. The next box was the tower, high processing power, top-tier graphics card. "Mom," she whispered. "But the money?" "I earned it back," I said. "We earned it back. We spent the night building the PC together, plugging in cables, installing drivers." When the screen finally lit up, illuminating her face with that cool blue glow, she smiled. It was the first real smile I had seen since that day at Brandon's apartment. She opened her drawing software. She picked up the stylus, and she began to create. I watched her for a while, realizing that while Brandon had stolen her money, he hadn't stolen her talent, and he hadn't stolen her spirit. It has been a year now. My phone is quiet. I changed my number 6 months ago. I heard through a mutual cousin that Brandon is out on parole, living in my parents' basement. They are broke, bitter, and isolated. They tell everyone who will listen that I am the devil who destroyed their family. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if they are right. I look at the empty space at the Christmas dinner table. I look at Tessa, who doesn't have grandparents to spoil her. But then I remember the laugh. I remember Brandon recording my daughter's tears for his amusement. I remember my mother telling me to apologize to the thief. And I realized that I didn't destroy my family. I excised a tumor. Tessa is thriving. She just won a state-level digital art competition. She is confident. She knows her mother will burn the world down to protect her. I walk into her room. She is sketching a new character, a warrior woman with a shield and a sword, standing over a fallen dragon. Who is that? I ask. She looks up and grins. That is you, Mom. I kiss her forehead and walk out to the porch to watch the rain fall on the valley. The air smells clean. I open my mailbox. There is a letter with no return address, but I recognize the handwriting. It is my father's jagged scrawl. I don't open it. I walk to the trash can and drop it in. Looking back at my brother's mugshot and my parents' blocked numbers, I ask myself, was I too cruel for destroying his life over money, or did I finally save my daughter from a lifetime of abuse? Am I the bad guy here? Thanks for watching. If you think family loyalty has limits, smash that like button. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next story from Reddit Drama Family.